I've been wanting to respond to Steven Crowder on something for since I started making stuff, but all of his videos are like an hour long, and I'm not gonna don't get me wrong, I love to torture myself watching reactionary content, but I don't think I can get myself to do it for that long, and for Steven Crowder, who I have an absolute hate hard on for. I cannot stand this guy. Um, One, because I'm really big about like political literacy. And you got Ben Shapiro who has some stuff wrong. You have whatever other reactionaries that have stuff wrong, but Steven Crowder is one of the worst ones. And his whole like when he's wrong, he jumps to this whole like I'm a comedian, so you can't critique me. It just drives me nuts. So I've been trying to find something to respond to him on, and I think I finally found something, maybe. He talks about democratic socialism. And I don't know. I couldn't resist it because these people don't even know what socialism is. There's just too much good stuff here to get on. It's a really old video. It's like 4 years old, but I feel like some of the things he's saying, people still like believe pretty heavily. So I figured it'd be worth watching it, reacting to it, and whatnot. So yeah, let me change this real quick. All right, louder with Crowder. Okay. Now let's see if good old Steven Crowder here can teach us something about socialism that we don't know.
Comparing democratic socialism to traditional socialism, or God forbid communism, is fear-mongering. It's inaccurate. It's actually pretty reasonable.
I mean, he's not fully wrong there. I mean, democratic socialism usually gets mixed up with social democracy. They're not really the same thing, but usually people like me who are going to support like something like social democracy or democratic socialist are communist. I mean, like we want to go even further than that. I mean, it's just part of the progression of getting to what we want. But they're not fully comparable. I mean, social democracy is still capitalism. Communism's a whole different mode of production. But we'll see if he even understands what democratic socialism is, which is supposed to be the left of social democracy, but let's just see.
We need to unite and work together if we're all going to get through this.
Sounds like socialism to me.
Democratic socialism.
What's the difference?
Huge difference.
Except that it's not. Here's Bernie Sanders.
I mean, true, democratic socialism isn't that much from actual socialism, except for when Bernie's saying democratic socialism, he's not talking about democratic socialism. He's talking about social democracy, which is different than socialism, because there are two different modes of production.
When asked, describing democratic socialism.
And what democratic socialism is about is saying that it is immoral and wrong that the top 1/10 of 1% in this country own almost 90%, own almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. You see every other major country providing health care to all people as a right, except the United States. Those are some of the principles that I believe in, and I think we should look to countries like Denmark, like Sweden, and Norway, and learn from what they have accomplished for their working people.
Okay, so I'm guessing his point is to say that this sounds like socialism. Bernie Sanders sounds like a socialist, but does he think all these countries he just pointed to are socialist? Because I thought the argument was when we pointed to these countries, they go, well, actually, that's not socialism, that's capitalism. And then we go, well, let's do that. And then they go, but that's socialism. Socialism's evil. Like, it seems...
This is pivotal because there's a myth going around that democratic socialism is inherently different from traditional socialism. Bernie Sanders did not articulate a worldview there at all. He just pointed to things that have existed since the beginning of time, told you that you should be angry, that you deserve stuff.
What does he mean by worldview? If you think something's immoral, that's part of your worldview. Like, if I think that people having that much wealth comparative to the bottom percent of people is an immoral thing, that's part of my moral system, and that moral system is a part of my worldview. So actually, he did describe a worldview, and he described our progress compared to other countries, which is also a maybe not a straight up worldview, but a view on the world. So I don't. Once again, I don't know what Crowder's saying here.
And presented you with a Christmas wish list. That's not a worldview. That's how you buy votes.
No, other countries are doing these things. This is what is the point of a government if it's not to band together to get things that we need together, that we can do better together than alone. Like healthcare is cheaper if we all pay into it together. Like this isn't this is actually like I just don't understand. It just this isn't a wish list. I mean, it kind of is. These are things that we wish to accomplish, that we should all wish to accomplish. And we're going to use the government to do it because the government's kind of the way that we all get together to do things that we want to get done. Like if we want, like, you know, universal healthcare or whatnot, which isn't even a big thing. Like universal healthcare, like, I mean, it'd be a big thing here, but like compared to other countries, I mean, they already have that. And like, it's not even really a radical request. If anything, it's just trying to catch up to like the rest of the world.
It's time for Who Do You Trust? Hubba, hubba, hubba. Money, money, money. Who do you trust? Me? I'm giving away free money.
Allow me to contrast. If someone asked me, what is conservatism or federalism or constitutionalism, whatever you want to call it? It's pretty simple. My worldview inherently believes that individuals, when left and given the freedom to make their own decisions, tend to do so more effectively than government bureaucrats in Washington. Also, I believe that it is more...
I don't understand this. Everyone, oh my god, every capitalist says this, where they go like, the bureaucrats in Washington are so much worse than like individual corporates. Do we not understand that corporations and businesses are like bureaucratic? There is like, you don't get outside of bureaucracy by sticking to capitalism. Bureaucracy exists anywhere there's organization. So this idea that, well, individuals can just do it better because there's no bureaucracy. Well, no. All of these companies that you point to that you're like, look, what an individual can build, have tons of bureaucracy, corporate bureaucracy that you don't get around that. That's just a fault within organization. And I mean, I wouldn't even say it's a fault. It's just part of organization that you can't really do anything about. So this idea that private individuals get past bureaucracy is just a bullshit thing. Like they just say that because it sounds good. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't hold up when you actually look at how businesses run, which you would think capitalists would do, but apparently not.
Morally imperative to provide people with said freedom and liberties.
I thought he said Bernie's wasn't a worldview, but his is. But he gave a moral prescription just like Bernie did. Huh? Seems a little inconsistent.
That's it. That's it. I didn't promise you any free shit. And we'll get into the nitty gritty, but the macro is first because we'll come back to reference this. Of the two worldviews.
Also, he did actually say some free shit. He was talking about protecting your freedom and liberty, which requires like things like a police force and whatnot, which we pay into to fund. So actually, you understand exactly what I was saying earlier, Stephen. That our government is how we get together to do things, to better things. Like if you want freedom, we have to get together to protect our freedoms. All the government is doing when we do more things is, I mean, I would say a lot of the economic things we do are increasing freedom, this thing that you hold so valuable. So the basic concept of us coming together and making laws and using the government to do things, you even agreed to, because that's how you protect your freedom. Without a government, there's no way to protect your individual freedom. There's nothing stopping from someone coming into your home and murdering you. Like, these things depend on the government's existence and us giving power to the government. So you already agree with the basic thing. We're just going like, well, why don't we just do these things that are more effective this way? Like, it's... I don't know.
Views. There is only one that allows and acknowledges human nature, and one that...
Okay, I hate this too. I keep pausing this. I am so sorry, but Steven Crowder makes me so fucking mad, dude. Oh my god. What is human nature? Please tell us all, because like, how many philosophers have been questioning this? Didn't like Foucault and Chomsky have a whole fucking debate over what human nature is, which I don't even think was really resolved? Like, human nature is something philosophers have been debating since forever. So, Mr. Steven Crowder over here, if you understand what human nature is, please enlighten the rest of us so we can stop debating that. Because let me tell you, it's not whatever bullshit he's gonna say. Because I guarantee we could literally just argue against it really easy. Because this question is a question that is still debated. Like, no one has an answer to this. So to act like, well, we should support capitalism because it's in line with human nature, when you don't even know what human nature is, sounds really kind of like bullshit. It sounds like you haven't thought about that much, Crowder. Maybe pick up a philosophical like book or something and think a little bit. Like, because I mean, if we take Marx's sense of human nature, it was to do labor, or like to produce, to build our environment, which doesn't require capitalism to do that. We could easily organize under a socialist society and do that exact thing. So depending on your human nature, we could come up with different societies, and there isn't a definite idea of what human nature is. There's even ideas that human nature doesn't exist at all. So I don't know. I hate when people pull the human nature argument, because it's like, if you actually knew this, it'd be a fucking like breakthrough. Like, holy shit, the world of philosophy, the world of science would like all change, because now we understand what human nature is. We don't. This is okay. I'm not having to let him argue yet, but just know that this is a bullshit argument.
That necessitates humans be inherently altruistic, particularly those in government with a D next to their name, completely immune to corruption.
I have brought peace, freedom.
Okay, this is like assuming that it isn't in human nature to be altruistic. But okay, morally I'm a utilitarian, but I understand that people are egoist. That's how I kind of see human nature kind of functioning. We do what's in our self-interest. That's the case. Altruism sometimes is in our self-interest. Like, or working honestly, say in the government, can be in our self-interest if the system is set up correctly to promote that. Right now, it's like you can get in government and you can like fucking take tons of money, become a fucking millionaire off of it. So of course it doesn't work the same way. But like if we were to have like a socialist government where there wasn't capital influencing it, you could easily see the promotion of these people doing good for the community, because doing good for the community would also be doing good for them. Capitalism kind of ruins some of these things, but whatever. Let's listen to this fucking dimwit.
Justice and security to my new empire.
Your new empire?
Don't make me kill you.
Whereas my
Also, he's talking about corruption. I just thought about this. Capitalism is a leading cause for corruption within our government. Why are people corrupt? To make money. What? Like, you just use something that actually fights against you, Crowder. So I cannot stand this dude. Okay, this guy is okay. The only person worse than Crowder is Tim Pool. Like, Tim Pool's so bad that I can't even like get through a video of Tim Pool. Like, I've thought about reacting to one, but they're like super long, and Tim Pool is like so fucking brain dead that I can't. But Steven Crowder is like brain dead, thinks he's funny, and is a douchebag, and it just drives me nuts. And he has no fucking idea what he's talking about. He just vaguely is like hates it's just stupid. And also, like I said, that argument just debunked his own argument. The whole reason people are corrupt is because of capitalism, because people are wanting to take money for themselves by using the political system. There's a lot to like personally gain from being in the political system, which we could easily do away with. Like, for people who actually want to, you know, make the country better and whatnot, would run, if we didn't, one, let money into politics, and two, I mean, we could just fucking get rid of capitalism. But that's another argument.
My worldview allows for the human nature of some people being good, some people being turd nuggets, and
Wait, why doesn't socialism allow for that? You could still have assholes in socialism. It doesn't not allow for that. It just doesn't allow a lot of the things that get promoted under capitalism to happen, which aren't even fucking human nature, because you don't know what human nature is, Crowder.
allowing them to make their own decisions, and the invisible hand of market forces to mitigate the damage as opposed to the
How does the invisible hand mitigate damages? I'm pretty sure the market causes a few damages. Like, the whole thing where we like overproduce and then pay our workers less, so then they can't buy the things that we just overproduced. Oh, and then what do we get? Oh, we get a Great Depression. Yeah, the invisible hand of markets definitely like fixes all the damages, doesn't create them. Come on, Crowder. Come on. I know this is 4 years ago, but like, come on, this is pretty brain dead shit you're going on.
Damage that can be done in a centralized power.
I'm your king.
Also, socialism doesn't have to be centralized, okay? We can talk about that. We can talk about how centralized or decentralized we want it. It doesn't have to be a centralized power. This is just a straw man.
I didn't vote for you. You don't vote for kings.
So right away, before we get into the nerdy math, and we will, you have to decide what it is that you believe. Because right away, the Democratic Socialists will try and poke holes in your argument.
What a lot of
Yeah, we will. Because you're fucking wrong, dude.
people may not realize is that America is kind of already a socialist country.
Okay, I hate when people say that because we're not. Just because we have social programs and stuff like fucking like the fire department every once in a while point to, or the post office. Those are examples of the government running things, but that isn't an example of socialism. I have a whole video on what socialism is. If you want to know exactly what socialism is, go watch that because I'm not going to explain it now. But that isn't socialism. It's a good example of how social democracy works. But I think that's what Steven Crowder fucks up on, and a lot of people in America is we conflate democratic socialism and social democracy.
Some of the most obvious are things like Medicare and Social Security,
Free K through 12 education.
national parks, prisons, and the whole justice system,
These, like I said, these are really good arguments for social democracy, though.
The Postal Service.
disposal of your toilet waste,
Even the Army are all socialist programs.
Leftists inevitably try and paint you into the corner that anything provided by government at all equates to socialism. And that comes back to the worldview. You need to understand what is the legitimate role of government, particularly in the United States. Honestly, have you ever asked yourself that fundamental question?
Is he gonna make me get up and go pick up my Constitution that's in the corner of my room? Crowder? Because I think I know what the government's supposed to do. I don't think you're gonna outdo me on this one. That's the thing I hate. Is these fucking like reactionaries think like they're so American that they know everything about America, but they don't understand that some of us on the left here know what the fuck we're talking about, alright?
Everything stems from it. The good thing is we have pretty clear blueprints. The Constitution is how, the Declaration of Independence is why. Definitely read those. Allow me to give you an analogy that...
Yeah, Steven Crowder, you should probably read those. I hope you know the I think it's in either one of them. I cannot think of it right now. Where it says like promote the general welfare of people, yada yada yada. We can amend the fucking Constitution to do things so it can change with the times. I mean, like, come on, dude, get the fuck out of here.
my dad provided with me, and I think is
Of course, his dad did because he can't do anything himself.
appropriate here. The role of the government.
Actually, I want to shout out Steven Crowder's dad. All right, he kept him from debating Sam Cedar. That sucks because I'd love to see that, but you probably saved your son because he'd probably get fucking like demolished.
Government, as per the documents that we have, is very similar to that of a hockey referee. Specifically hockey, you'll see why in a second. The job of a hockey referee is to ensure the safety of the players and ensure people are obeying the rules in a way that keeps the pace of the game. Keeping the players, i.e. the citizens, safe. That would mean that the military, some form of police force, is of course a legitimate role of government. Having regulations in place to ensure that people don't steal or screw other people, of course that's a legitimate role of government.
Wait. Does he think that like some of the things that we push for, like Medicare for all and stuff, isn't protecting people from getting screwed? Because the thing is, insurance companies screw people. I hate to say big pharma because it sounds so fucking conspiratorial, but like they like fuck people. Like I mean, a lot of the things that we push for are stomping the way that capitalism exploits the fuck out of people. So, I guess he just only sees theft as like direct theft. Like if I walk into a store and I'm like, hey, you give me the money in the bank, which is not the only form of theft. I mean, like I would even argue that taxes are theft, even though it's justified theft. But like we can get into that to another time.
Anything beyond that purview is considered incidental, and the referee in hockey keeps his whistle in his pocket. Also, there's a certain element of self-regulation to hockey not seen in other sports, which one can appreciate.
Oh, wait. We want to talk about self-regulation in hockey and about how people fight each other and how like we should shape our society around that. Yeah, we should promote people beating the fuck out of one another to self-regulate our economy. Oh, wait, that's some big brain shit. Oh yeah, we want a fucking society that promotes violence. Holy shit, Steven, you're like. And he's smiling too, like he knows that that's what this is. Also, once again, this fucking game example is bullshit because what if the game itself is like wrong? That's the analogy, right? The analogy is like a free market liberal democracy fucking bullshit, right? What if we just think the game isn't good? I mean, I don't like hockey. Do you like hockey? I don't know. I don't know many people that watch hockey. So like, we could just reject the game itself in this analogy, and like that's the problem. Actually, is the game capitalism? The game is the problem, and we're gonna use the government, which is us, the people, and the stands, to change what the game is, right? Okay. I don't know if that made any sense, but this analogy is just stupid because he doesn't understand that what we're attacking is the whole game itself, not just parts of it. And also, I just hate that he just literally promoted like, oh yes, self-regulation through violence is a good idea. We should promote that in society. That's so smart.
Two dropping as Spencer comes in and he goes down.
Contrast that with the European socialists in soccer.
The Europeans are not socialist. Okay. I don't think I should have to say that, but they're not socialist. That's not how this works. Okay. Oh my god. Also, soccer is so much more entertaining than like hockey. I played soccer when I was a kid. That was so much more fun. I've watched soccer. I would never watch hockey. So what's the point here, Crowder? You're losing me.
It's a very clearly defined role. The referee's job is not to pick winners, losers, high scorers, to provide medical assistance, to be a water boy.
Yeah, unless you pay them off, which is what happens in our country. Like one of the teams can just pay off the refs to be in their favor. You ever heard of like super PACs and shit like that? Like lobbying and all these other things? Like come on, dude. There's no way that you're just this dim-witted. Like this is just like purposely being ignorant, like willful ignorance.
Or a cheerleader, or even to draft the teams. So I don't want to get too far off into the weeds, but I find it funny that Democratic Socialists use the post office as an example for success.
I think it's fine to point at the post office if we're going to talk about social democracy, which is what we're talking about here. We're not even talking about socialism. So one, let's just talk about Steven Crowder doesn't even know his fucking terms. I mean, can't blame him. Most people don't know the fucking terms, but Steven Crowder doesn't either, and he gets paid like a shit ton of money to know politics.
Yes. The post office was awful until, surprise, FedEx provided competition. Overnight shipping, 2-day shipping, it didn't exist. It got there when it got there. You hoped. Also,
I don't know how true that is, but even if that's the case, it was probably the progress with like technology and allowing this to happen. I don't think it's just because there was competition. I think it was just knowing that it was possible and being able to do it. Yeah.
Before FedEx, tracking numbers didn't exist. That was your post office. You want to see government-run healthcare? Take that and add cancer. Schools are not.
What was that supposed to mean? That you would take forever to get cancer? You know how many people die of cancer even now? You know people can't fucking afford cancer treatment? Like, okay. Would you rather wait a little bit to be able to get like treated and stuff with cancer, or would you rather like not be able to pay for it whatsoever? I'm gonna go with like I can wait just a little bit, which the wait lines aren't even near as bad as they try to say that they are, but like still, I'd rather wait a little bit than not even be able to afford the treatment that could possibly save my life. I don't think that's a really hard concept to understand.
Another example, your parents were raised without a federal Department of Education. They still had public schools. They were funded by their municipalities.
I love my parents, but that's probably why I'm smarter than
in their states. And guess what? Results are pretty similar. Most of your parents are smarter than you. And
I love you, Mom.
that's the beauty, again, of the worldview of constitutionalism. There's a very limited role of the federal.
Hey, if you're such a constitutionalist, did you know that we can amend the Constitution? Did you know that was in there for a reason? Because times change. We need to change things to the times. Did you, Crowder? Or are you just gonna conveniently skip that part? Because you're dumb.
Federal government in D.C., but states and municipalities have the right to enact government services that the federal government does not. If one state wants to tax you out of existence to provide schools and free weed to everybody, they're free to do so just as sure.
That one's pushing for free weed for people. But sure, yeah, we could talk about how states should be able to do things, but the thing is, eventually, I mean, there's just certain rights that our federal government will apply to all. Like, I mean, like, if we wanted to go so states-wise, I mean, we could have the whole problem with fucking slavery. Wait, do you know that there was a civil war over this? You know, that like the states wanted to have the rights to slavery, and then we were like, yeah, no, the federal government's gonna stick in on that one. I mean, that's what we're gonna deal with things that seem to be big problems, like healthcare is a big problem. A lot of these things that can't be fixed at a state level, we're going to take to the federal government. That's the point of having a federal government. If we didn't do that, why have a federal government at all? Like, why would you even defend America? Why not just defend your state?
Surely a decent state doesn't have to. Again, when accounting for human nature, you want a decentralization.
Human nature. Please, Crowder, enlighten us on what human nature is exactly. Oh my god, I beg you.
Of government power. This groundwork has to be laid here because it's pivotal that you understand the difference between your opinion, how you would like systems to work, versus how they are legally designed to operate.
Hold up. Hold up. Are laws not based on our opinions? Wait a minute. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Of course our laws are based on opinion. I mean, wait. Do you know what a democracy is? It's where we vote on things based upon our opinion on things, and then we do things according to that. Do you know how the Constitution was written up and how it was agreed upon? By opinion and debating our opinions? What? Okay, it is definitely ramped by our opinions. And yes, there are some legal things we have to get through to enforce these, but that's just a legal process. There isn't like we can have opinions, but then there's no legal way to do it. No, we can have opinions, and if a lot of us want to fucking do it, like a majority of us, then we can legally go about doing it. Like that's democracy. Hold up, Steven Crowder. I thought you were a lover of America, a lover of freedom, and a lover of democracy. But you don't even understand how democracy works? You see what I mean? Steven Crowder is so politically illiterate. One, he ignores a fundamental part of the Constitution, which is its ability to change through amendments, which has made it as long of a lasting document as it's been. Two, seems to forget how democracy works. And even if we're going to say we're in a representative democracy, it still works that way. Three, he thinks social democracy is socialism. And four, he thinks that it's okay to have the government do police, but nothing else to protect our freedoms, while these other things that we want would also protect our freedoms. It's just very logically inconsistent, and just politically illiterate all around, to be honest.
So to be fair, let's go to Democratic Socialists of America and their description of democratic socialism. Democratic socialists believe that both the economy and society should be run democratically to meet public needs, not to make profits for a few.
Yeah, I would say representative democracy. I'm only saying that because I want to trigger the people out there who like direct democracy. I'm a direct democracy hater, okay? But yeah, I don't see what's wrong with this. When we could do this, like, I don't see why we wouldn't be able to do this.
Now, right away, they say that because people hear democracy and believe that it's somehow inherently noble, and subconsciously delineates between socialism and democratic socialism. There is no difference. It's why Vladimir Lenin famously said, democracy is
Okay, wait. So now we're going to say that there's no difference between democratic socialism and socialism. And then we're going to act like this isn't any different than the European countries that have social democracy. So social democracy is full-on socialism, and Lenin, a communist, was a Sockdem, even though the communists and the Sockdems hated each other. This is not even just politically illiterate. This is just ahistorical, Crowder. You should have done a little bit more research. Just like a little bit. Oh my god, like dude, like within like not even a month you could know this and know how wrong you are. Like if you just took a month to like go, maybe I don't know anything about the left, and let me just pull up Wikipedia for 2 seconds and then read about the big figures for like a little bit. Holy shit, this is like, oh, this is why I hate reactionaries, because this is just fucking anti-intellectual. This is politically illiterate. This is ahistorical. This makes me mad, and this is why I wanted to respond to Steven Crowder, because this is just Ben Shapiro. I hate him, but he would not be this fucking stupid, I don't think, if he were to cover this. Which I don't know, maybe I haven't seen, but this is just so fucking stupid. Also, democracy is indispensable to socialism. I mean, it depends on like what you think about Lenin. I mean, like, do you consider democratic centralism democracy and whatnot? I mean, like, they weren't like straight up totalitarian or whatnot. I mean, like, Stalin kind of was, but I mean, and Lenin was like friends with like Rosa and stuff, and Rosa was like a big time like democracy person. So like this statement, even if it were accurate, isn't agreed upon within socialist circles. So using this as like a gotcha, it doesn't fucking work, idiot.
Dispensable to socialism. So you may want those things, but right off the bat, the United States is not a democracy. It was never designed to be a democracy.
Oh my god, it's a representative democracy. It functions just as fucking a democracy. We literally elect the people that make all the decisions. Like, what I mean, like, that's just one step away. And then they then get to vote on legislation. That's how that works. It's still democratic. It's just like a little step away, and it protects a few things. I think that's fine, because I don't think everyone wants to fucking like put their head in theory all day. I think most people are against that. Anyway,
Democracy, and it will never be a democracy so long as the Constitution stands. The United States has always been a constitutional representative republic.
it's a representative democracy, okay? I know he's avoiding saying that because then he can't go like, it's the democracy. Because of course we have some anti-democratic things. That's part of it being, I guess, a republic, but it's a representative democracy, and everything but like the fucking judicial branch, which is like fucking then appointed by the people we elected. So like even that is pretty democratic. Like I don't. Also, I want to find all the videos where he's like saying like democracy in America is amazing, because this like is inconsistent with like what most right wingers are pushing, which is like, you know, when we like want to bomb like the Middle East and stuff, we're like, well, we're bringing them democracy, and I'm sure that's something Steven Crowder would like repeat. But right here he's gonna be like, we're not even democratic.
Why and how's it different? Because the founding fathers understood that for freedom to be maintained.
Because the founding fathers were like a lot fucking smarter than you, Crowder. Holy shit. The reason why they made the Constitution amendable is because they understood that like things would change over time. I mean, these guys were like pretty intelligent, and they understood the problems with direct democracy and whatnot. I mean, you have to think these guys were like consuming tons of like philosophy during the Enlightenment era and all this shit. Like, I mean, like these guys were intelligent, and they knew that society was going to change. So to act like they didn't, and that we need to be a pure like exactly what the Constitution says, don't change anything, that's dumb, because literally the Constitution is written to be changed over time.
And it was pivotal that the rights of the minority were not entirely beholden to the ever-changing.
Oh, the rights that wait, you think they were really smart about the rights of minorities because slavery existed? I mean, like, one, sure, we don't want to like fucking trample over people. We don't want like mob rule, as they say, is what, at least that's what he thinks. I mean, honestly, I think we should always go with whatever the majority wants. I can understand with some problems with wanting the minority represented. We can talk about how to do that, but like, I think overall, what's more important is the good of most people. Because, I mean, as long as we're not like actively like genociding the other people to make these people good. I mean, I'm a utilitarian, so whatever brings the most good for the most people is what I care about. And right now we're so fucking like, because this is going to be like an argument for like the electoral college and like how we don't want to stamp on these like rural areas that are underrepresented or whatever. Today we have like the technology to know what's going on in those areas, and we can take that into consideration when we're writing policy and whatnot. It's no longer really needed. Yeah, I'm anti-electoral college, I guess. I don't know how I ended up on this tangent, but anyway, let's just get back to this fucking dumb fuck.
Changing will of the majority. See, pure democracy sounds nice, but in reality, it's mob rule, which is why it inevitably
mob rule's base, dude. Hell yeah.
Collapses. Again, you're not accounting for human nature. If everyone.
How does this have to do with human nature? Why do we keep going back to human nature when Crowder doesn't even know what human nature is? Like, stop fucking using go against human nature. Like, Crowder, what is it? I'm against human. It's against human nature. Like, dude, come on, just stop. Just, you don't know what you're fucking talking about.
Everyone has a vote. They're going to vote in their own self-interest, and the mob will vote to take stuff from the minority.
I want, me.
I mean, if there's a surplus, I don't see what's wrong with that. Like, if a bunch of people have like, I don't know, you know, $130 billion, like, I don't see what. No one needs that. I mean, we have studies that show that once you get above like $200,000, the happiness based upon like wealth goes away, things like that. I mean, like, Of course, if there's a surplus that isn't being used correctly, I think it's totally fine to think we should take that as a society, because that's what you get for living in a society. If you want to keep your like $1 billion, go do an Anprim and go live in the woods. All right, and get away from society, and then we won't touch your money. But as long as you're living in society, driving on our roads, using our fire department, using our education, using our labor to make that money, yeah, we're gonna do what we can with our government. That's how that fucking works. That's what a government's for. Okay? Really simple, Crowder. If that wasn't the case, there'd be no reason for a government.
Me, mine, now.
Good example would be when people first came to the United States in colonies under John Smith. Prager University has a great video on this. Originally, the goal was
Prager University doesn't have any good videos. No. Shut up.
the betterment of the community, not the individuals. So grain, food, resources were communal, and people took what they needed.
Is he talking about feudalism? Is that what? Does he not realize there was like lords and a monarchy and stuff? It wasn't just about the community. That isn't how this worked. No. That's just once again ahistorical. Like, people didn't just focus on the community in this time. But then unless we want to go all the way back to like primitive communism. But like, we don't have much on that. And I mean, we got here today, so obviously they did pretty okay. I mean, like, but if we're gonna talk about feudalism, I'm guessing based upon the graphics, that's what they're talking about. Feudalism wasn't just about the community. Like, and doesn't make this argument's just, oh my god, dude.
What inevitably happened is some people were more productive than others, and the system began collapsing, and people starved.
Wait, people will always be more productive than others, and people don't have to starve. In capitalism, like, we have people who are more productive than each other. Like, if I go to work, I'm sure I have a coworker that probably maybe is less productive than me, or maybe more productive than me. The society doesn't collapse from that, you know? And that's gonna go ever from my job to every other job within capitalism. And they don't collapse. So, and those people will get paid the same. I mean, like, maybe someone gets a promotion eventually, but at some point they get paid the same, and probably for a good long time. Society doesn't collapse because of that. So, if anything, Crowder, you're arguing that maybe workers should get paid for the amount of I just totally tripped up my words. I think Crowder's arguing, though, that people should get paid for what they do, right? Like, exactly the worth of their labor? Can someone start playing the USSR anthem for me?
That invariably happens with some model of social.
I don't really like the USSR, just to clarify that. I'm not a tanky. I'm not an ML, okay?
Socialism. It's just a matter of time, and when that time comes, you have a decision to make. Either you go to full-fledged communism, where the government
based, yeah, I think that's. I mean, social democracy isn't to go to full-fledged communism, but socialism is, and that's fucking amazing. Who doesn't want a classless, like, stateless society? That sounds awesome. I don't know how like, you're such a proponent of freedom, Crowder. Why wouldn't you be for communism? It's the most free you could ever fucking be.
Has to control all aspects.
That's not even. Oh my god.
Of commerce, or you go the
government. Okay. They always frame it like the government's like this entity that is not the people. So they're like, oh, this entity that's way above you is controlling everything that surrounds you, all of the industry. But no, when we say the government's going to control things in some sense, most sane people that are communist think the people are who's going to be controlling that. So it's not some government entity that is outside of us. It is us, just doing it through the government apparatus, because that's how we get together and make decisions. Like, that is what a government is.
The other way, free market enterprise capitalism, which is what John Smith did, saying, okay, this isn't working, everyone, you're in charge of yourself, and prompted the famous phrase, he who does not work does not.
Hey, some communists believe in this line too, all right? This isn't just capitalist. Actually, during lower phase communism, we could possibly see ourselves going by this sort of rule, as in, I mean, I wouldn't say fully, we probably have some exceptions, but like, the idea is that you have to give to society to get from society. I mean, buddy, if you want to live by this rule, it sounds like you're kind of, maybe you should like check out communism a little bit, Crowder. Comrade Crowder, come on.
Eat, which he was quoting from the Bible. yada, yada, yada.
He's quoting from the Bible. Fucking cringe, dude. Oh my god. We should not run our government based upon the Bible. That's fucking like the lowest IQ thing.
Fast forward hundreds of years, you have an iPhone 6. Again,
What? Okay, we have an iPhone 6 because as much as I will give credit to capitalism for industrialization, we got it from technological progress that could happen and like would happen even under socialism. Socialism doesn't just stop technological progress. So this is the fucking like socialism's window iPhone fucking meme.
Human nature. If you yoke yaks, if you yoke 2 yaks or a few yaks, I don't know how many can you yoke. They yoke yaks.
I don't think they yoke yaks.
I think they yoke yaks. They yoked a yak. Oh. If you yoke them together, they are going to move as fast as.
I think there was a swastika on that. Hold up.
Yaks. They yoked a yak. Oh. If you yoke them together.
Yeah, there's a little swastika. Like, hold up. Look at that. You see that? I don't think this was on. Was this on purpose? Is this a dog whistle? Nah, I doubt it, but
they are going to move as fast as the slowest yak. Centralized forms of government.
Yeah, right now the slowest yak is the fucking Republicans. Holy shit. Are they stopping us from progressing? Like, Jesus.
Do this. They pull people back. They're incapable of pulling people forward, which is why Lenin.
That's just society in general. We will, like, I mean, we always have to pull people. We always have to keep fighting to go forward. Like, I mean, there's always people who are falling back. Like, it doesn't even matter. This is just fucking irrelevant. Like,
famously said of socialism, the goal of socialism is communism.
True. Nothing wrong with that. If you knew what communism was, you wouldn't have a problem with that either.
Okay, let's go right back to.
Also, it seems kind of racist towards Russians, maybe. Not to be like a woke scold, but like, maybe.
To the Democratic Socialists' own website. Democratic Socialists do not want to create an all-powerful government bureaucracy. Today, corporate executives who answer only to themselves and a few wealthy stockholders make basic economic decisions affecting millions of people. We believe that the workers and consumers who are affected by economic institutions should own and control them. Own and control them.
Yeah, I think the people should own and control what we fucking produce and what we consume. What's wrong with that? Sounds like as much freedom as we could possibly have, Crowder. And I thought your moral view was to have freedom and liberty, right?
And how are you going to do that, Democratic Socialists?
Through the fucking power of the state, baby. Yeah, of course. We're gonna. Well, how do you protect your freedom right now, Crowder? Through the power of the state. You know, someone's like gonna come rob you. How do you stop them? I mean, either you kill them or the police come up and like fucking get them, right? I mean, there was nothing wrong with using the state. I'm so tired of this like anti-statist bullshit. Like on every side, like the state is a good thing. We use it to do good things. Like the reason why we can do anything that we want for socialism is going to require some sort of state apparatus to do this. To have this, half the things we have now, there needs to be some fucking government state sort of apparatus as well. I know people separate government state, but that's really irrelevant at the moment. And fucking this fucking all-powerful government bureaucracy. I wish people would stop using bureaucracy. Bureaucracy, as I said before, like literally exists in all organization. It exists in the government, it exists in business. You don't get past bureaucracy just by picking one or the other.
Damn it. Important to note right off the bat, most businesses are not helmed by millionaires. Most of them are small businesses. By the way, who's most affected?
Sure, we can say there's a lot of small businesses, but the ones that bring in the most capital are the big businesses, the one that make up most of what money we have within the US comes from big business. So the point here is irrelevant.
By said economic institution or business.
Also, let's talk about how small business owners gets fucked by these corporations too. So I mean, this is in their interest as well.
Maybe instead of just the worker, could it possibly be, I don't know, the business owner who incurred all of the investment and risk? Yet
oh, wait, who else takes risk in businesses? Oh, wait, all the people who get their fucking salary from those businesses. If you're employed, you're taking a risk that this company is going to stay afloat so you can fucking put food on the table. So, I mean, I hate this fucking argument that they took the risk. Workers take the risk because the work that you're doing right now could fucking end. The business you're working for could fucking end if someone up on top fucks up. Like, I mean, you're taking as much risk just working for a company as they fucking take by starting a company. I mean, obviously, the rate of fucking getting a good company going is lower, but there's still risk. And even when a company's first starting, say you start working for that company, you're taking on just as much risk as the person who started it. Okay, so this risk argument is just idiotic, because if you work, you take risk. All right, end the story.
According to the Democratic Socialist's own website, all of that control should be given over to the worker.
Fuck yeah, it should. And tell me why it shouldn't, Crowder.
Why? Because they said so. Who's going to...
No, because we produce everything, okay? The worker is all the consumers, and we're all the producers, okay? All we want is for everyone to be a worker, and then us to plan how we do things. It's a really easy concept. And it's not a bad thing. I mean, I thought you believed in hard work, so why shouldn't everyone in society have to work? Come on, Crowder. Come on, it seems like you haven't really grounded your axioms here. I mean, like, it seems like they're kind of conflicting with one another. Like, it seems a little hypocritical, buddy.
To do it, the government bureaucracy that they just promised wouldn't happen. Little known fact, it's going to be done at gunpoint. That's what...
Wait. That's how everything in the state works. That's how the police force works. And we can even say corporations and how they defend their property is defended by the state. So defended by gunpoint. Right? And I mean, if we want to talk about how people rely on these companies in order to get their food and whatnot, their well-being relies on these companies. I mean, they're kind of being held by gunpoint because if they don't work, they starve. Right? I mean, like, come on. You're not going to get around the gunpoint thing. I mean, violence is just a part of existing, dude. Like, that's part of society.
What government does. That's what taxes are. You give us this, or men with guns come and take you.
True, and if you don't like it, go fucking live in the woods, dude. End the story. It's totally justified. You get to get all the good things from society. You get the workers of the country. You get all these things in order to make that money. Of course, you fucking owe something back to the society that has given you so much. It's a give and take system, buddy. All right? Nothing wrong with it.
You away.
You are one first-class idiot. Oh, really?
You may not like Walmart's wages, but when was the last time they gangster punked you?
I mean, they don't gangster punk you exactly with a gun like that. I mean, unless you want to steal something, then they'll call the cops and that'll happen. But if you don't work, you starve. And if they lower your wage, I mean, you maybe end up homeless and things like that. I mean, there's just a lot of things that they can use to threaten you with a type of violence that isn't just, you know, bang bang. But even then, like I said before, the state is used to protect their property anyway. So in a sense, they're protecting their property just as the state, like just the same way we would take it at gunpoint.
Moreover, the fall of communism should not blind us to injustices at home. We cannot allow all radicalism to be dismissed as communist.
I wish the DSA wouldn't do this. Communism is not a boogeyman. I get it. Most people don't understand what communism is, so it's hard. It's a hard term to use. Still, we need to get past this fucking Red Scare shit.
That suppression of dissent and diversity undermines America's ability to live up to its promise of equality of opportunity, not to mention the freedoms of speech and assembly. Okay, here's just the point where I'll ask you to point me to any socialist government that allows for freedom of speech.
As if that's okay. One, I don't even know if that's true. I'm pretty sure. Well, one, I don't even think socialism has existed. But even if we look at places that tried to be socialist, I don't think they have like no freedom of speech. And we have capitalist countries that don't have good freedom of speech. So that point is totally irrelevant. So I don't know why he did it like really smirky, because there are plenty of places that are not socialist, that are capitalist, that don't have freedom of speech. That's more to do with how authoritarian, which I hate using, how authoritarian your government is, okay? Like, that has nothing to do with the mode of production.
In the short term, we can't eliminate private corporations, but we can bring them under greater democratic control. The government could use regulations and tax incentives to encourage companies to act in the public interest. Key detail here, in the short term, we can't eliminate private corporations.
Of course we want to eliminate private corporations. They're a huge fucking problem, dude. I'm pretty sure you can see why, right? I mean, have you seen all the trees in California that are on fire because of global warming? Because we have no control over the corporations that cause all the emissions for that, right? Have you seen the people who end up one of the main reasons people are in like insane fucking debt when it comes to healthcare, because it's fucking privatized. We can look at education, the same fucking thing. Like, I mean, come on, buddy. I know you see it. Of course we want to get rid of it. I'm not gonna hide that. DSA isn't hiding that, and we're not hiding it because it's an obvious fucking problem.
Which would imply, in the long term,
yeah,
the goal is to eliminate private corporations.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. The way to crush the bourgeoisie is to grind them between the millstones of taxation and inflation.
Okay, this was a strategy, I guess, that Lenin had. How's this relevant?
Thanks, cutout Lenin, for refreshing my memory. So
I bet he's never read Lenin.
the goal is to discourage companies from acting in the interest of you, the consumer, in order to appease the social.
Hey, hint, anytime they point at you being the consumer, remember that you are also the producer, okay? They like to conflate this all the time, that the consumer and producer are two different people. But everyone who produces things are the consumers. And the vast majority of you people probably work a job, and you probably produce. You're a producer, okay? These are not two different people. These are the same people, okay? Remember that.
Social justice worker, which is funny because it's counteracted by another point on this very page. We don't agree with the capitalist assumption that starvation or greed are the only reasons people work. People enjoy their work if it is meaningful and enhances their lives. So right before this, the Democratic Socialists tell you how they're going to force your company to produce and operate, and then in the very next paragraph tell you, oh no, but we believe that if people are left to their own nature, they truly enjoy work.
Yeah, I mean, no one's arguing that. What we're trying to say is that the way that work is structured currently causes people to only work for these reasons. If we fix these problems, people can then work for like what they want to do. Which means that work will be more efficient, it'll be better, it'll be more enjoyable. I mean, a lot of problems that we're seeing now, like the suicide rate and fucking substance abuse is insanely high. A lot of these things we could see come down because people feel less alienated from the labor that they're doing. I mean, yeah, we believe people want to work. I don't think anyone doesn't want to work. The problem is no one wants to work with how we have things set up now, where it's a work or die sort of situation. We want to work to make things better, to produce things, to give to society. I don't think anyone doesn't want to do that.
Work, specifically the work that we force you to do. People will love the forced work we give them. Although a long-term...
We have forced work right now, so this is fucking like irrelevant. And depending on who you talk to, and later socialism, you know, higher phase communism, there's even like a whole idea of like not having to work and like pushing automation to make work even less. So one, we could talk about that, but two, you already have to work now because if you don't work, you fucking starve. So what is this point?
The term goal of socialism is to eliminate all but the most enjoyable kinds of labor. We recognize that unappealing jobs will long remain. Is there anything more leftist social justice warrior entitled millennial than...
Okay, wanting to get rid of the work that we don't enjoy doing isn't about entitlement, it's about progress. Why would we continue doing things that we don't want to do as a society anymore? I mean, if we want to stop like doing the jobs that people don't want to do, it'd be nice if we could automate them with technology so we don't have to do them anymore. This is a societal benefit. I mean, this is an example of not even just being conservative, but wanting to be like regressive. I mean, he like doesn't even, he would rather people have to do these things than make society better. We don't have to do these things. I mean, like, I don't see a problem with that statement at all. Of course it's going to be later in the future. Technology isn't there yet. I mean, and eventually we'll get there, but of course we're not there yet. And I don't see the problem of wanting to getting rid of jobs that people don't want to do. Like, I literally cannot see an argument for how that's a problem, which is why he points to the entitled rich kid millennial bullshit that they all point to.
And wanting to eliminate all the icky jobs like septic cleaning, trash man, snow removal,
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have to do that? Point to me someone who absolutely loves doing that, because then I'll point to you a liar. Okay, no, hardly. Okay, maybe there's like one person, but most people don't want to do these jobs. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get rid of them.
Basically, any high-paying, skilled job that millennials refuse to do as they pursue their 8-year degree in gender studies. These tasks...
Oh my god, they literally have one joke. The fucking gender studies joke. I mean, at least they understand gender, Crowder. I mean, can we admit that they understand it better than you do? Right? Come on.
Could be spread among as many people as possible, rather than distributed on the basis of class, race, ethnicity, or gender as they are under capitalism. Rather than distributed on the basis of race, class, ethnicity, what? Nothing is distributed under capitalism.
What do you mean? There's literal capital owners who get to decide how things are distributed. So, what?
Nobody says, I need this trash picked up. You, black man, do this. Also,
Actually, kind of. I mean, like, it's like, hey, this needs to get done. And if you don't do it, you're gonna starve. So, yes.
I won't pay you.
Hey, f*** your mama. Thank you very much.
That's the beauty of free enterprise.
I hate this guy because he thinks he's funny. Oh my god.
Not only does it create a truly free market of ideas.
Guys, do I hear that? The free marketplace of ideas. All ideas go except for communism. Alright? Those are bad. Don't talk about those, okay? We still live in the Red Scare. That's illegal. Don't talk about it.
Goods and services, but jobs for people who are willing to perform those jobs if people are willing to pay them for it. No government force required, which brings us...
There is force. Just because it's not directly from the government doesn't mean there isn't force. I don't understand this, like, weird shit about, like, hating the government so much. Like, the government's a good thing. It is. I know that's hard to believe. I mean, we live in America and we have some weird, like, anti-government, like, hate. But, like, the government's just a way that we decide to do things for the benefit of everyone. I mean, so what would be wrong with going like, oh, we need people to fucking do the septic tank shit. Let's get people to do it. Like, okay. It's the same thing now. It's like, oh, we need people to do the septic fucking shit. So we'll make it where if no one does it, someone's gonna starve. Like, come on, dude.
Us to the linchpin. Although no country has fully instituted democratic socialism, the socialist parties and labor movements of other countries have won many victories for their people. We can learn from the comprehensive welfare state maintained by the Swedes, from Canada's national healthcare system, France's nationwide childcare program, and Nicaragua's literacy programs. See, this is what every failed economic system does, whether it's communism, socialism, or democratic socialism.
Okay, the reason why socialism has failed is because just as capitalism failed multiple times, it is a new mode of production. No one knows exactly how to perfectly institute this. So, just like capitalism, we didn't know how to institute it at first either.
Socialism is, oh, no, it would work, just nobody else has done it yet. All the other people didn't do it.
Imagine having this argument under feudalism, going like, nah, capitalism can't work because it didn't work in these few situations. Come on, dude, this is so brain dead.
Right, but I will. And then they cherry pick data from individual.
Well, someone has to. Eventually it's gonna happen. So someone has to be willing to take the attempt, just as people took the attempt to try capitalism to make things better. So yeah. I mean, if you think you know enough, you think you have the knowledge, you think you have the staff to do it, I mean, yeah, why not think you can do it?
Individual facets of countries in order to make their point. Like Nicaragua's literacy program. Okay, why don't you talk about their GDP? Canada's nationalized healthcare system.
And none of these countries are fucking socialist. They're all social. Like, I don't even know about Nicaragua, but Canada's like kind of social democracy. I'm pretty sure Sweden's like basically a social democracy. Denmark, same.
Why don't you talk about the crushing debt in the Supreme Court case that ruled it a violation of human rights in 2005? Sweden, it's now the...
I don't know. I missed what he said there, but we have crushing debt here. These points are irrelevant.
The rape capital of the Western world. And
okay, we have rape problems in the US. These aren't points at their economic thing. He's just like trying to point at some issue that a country has and be like, oh, because it's socialist. But like, what if we did that with capitalism, which would probably actually be more accurate? Let's say like, oh, we have so many people incarcerated because of capitalism, which is actually true because we have for-profit prisons. We have insane student debt because of capitalism. I mean, I can go on and I can actually point to how these actually are affected by capitalism. And if we look at these, I guarantee, other than maybe this one may be more of a cultural problem or something, but most of these we can look at and we can point to capitalism because, as I said before, these aren't even socialist. These are social democracies. So Crowder, your point's just irrelevant.
On the verge of cultural and economic collapse. Good for you, Sweden. You finally pulled one out. Oh, but that's right. The failsafe.
What's up with the hate against Sweden, dude? Oh my god.
Is these places weren't real democratic socialism.
I mean, none of them are. None of them are socialist. I mean, come on. Come on, buddy. They're all social democracies, which is still the capitalist mode of production. There's still commodity production. There's still private ownership. There's still all of these things that would make it capitalism. So yeah.
Not like these people want to do. We just have to trust them. Speaking of trust, let's move to some of the most notorious supporters of democratic socialism, noted neurosurgeons at the Young Turks.
And so many people who would really benefit from his policy idea.
I'm not a big fan of the Young Turks, but I mean, they're probably right on this just because Crowder's so stupid that they have to be right if he disagrees with them.
Are against
Not
him
really,
because
but
they've bought into the Bernie Sanders fear-mongering.
She said fear-mongering. Drink. Trigger warning. If you play that game, you're going to get hammered.
Yeah, I mean, it is fear-mongering. I mean, we still have, like, communist fear-mongering in the U.S. I can't even... With most people, if I just go talk to a stranger, if I say the word communism, they immediately think Stalin and Mao and millions of people fucking dying, which is not at all what communism is. I mean, these were ran by the communist parties, but they weren't communist. They never achieved communism. Yeah, fear-mongering. We have to point that out because it makes it easy to be anti-intellectual and not engage with ideas. I thought you cared about the free market of ideas, Crowder. Come on.
They hear the word socialist without really understanding what it means.
True.
Why is it that the middle class and the working class pays a higher percentage of their taxable income to the federal government, and then you have these massive multinational corporations not paying anything in taxes?
Because you're comparing corporations versus individual income?
What is the point of that? Corporations bring in way more money than individuals do. So why wouldn't we tax them more? What was the point?
A couple of things here. Under Bernie Sanders, noted Democratic Socialist, the middle class would pay more. A lot.
Yes, they pay more in taxes, but in their expenses, like if we look at Medicare for All, the whole idea is that we spend more into the government program that is Medicare for All, and we spend less on our insurance, like our actual insurance. So it's a net us paying less. Okay, we pay more in taxes, but we pay less overall, which matters a ton when we're talking about saving people money and making the lives of people even better. Yeah, so...
Yeah, if you're making $50,000 a year, you'd be paying over $5,000 more a year. So there's that. I know. Some of you are saying, but we'll get free health care in college. Again, if you believe that...
Yeah, which costs way more than that. A lot more than that. I pay for my college. I partly get loans, but I also pay some of it out of pocket. Trust me, it is a lot more than that. If I only had to pay $5,000 a year because I was making, what, he said $50,000? Which, damn, that'd be nice. Yeah, I would have no problem with that because I pay... probably more than that currently.
Everyone in government is beyond corruption, and those things will happen.
The only reason people are usually corrupt in the U.S. is usually based upon capital influence. So, yeah, if you got a problem with corruption, maybe you should be anti-capitalist.
Happen efficiently. Again, let's go back to the analogy, healthcare, like the post office.
Also, this idea that we have to, like, think that our government will always be corrupted is, like, so fucking stupid, because these corporations can be just as corrupt and, like, exploiting their workers and having bad conditions and selling faulty products and all of these things. Like, I mean, the idea of, like, the government's the only thing that can be corrupted is, like, literally, like, low IQ as fuck.
Office only add cancer. College, this goes back to the worldview. What if I don't want to go to college? What if someone decides, again, human nature?
College is becoming more and more necessary. Most people probably want to go. And if you don't want to go, okay, but you always have the chance to go. And your kids are going to be able to go. And anyone that you meet can go. Like, if you as an individual don't want to go to college, one, it doesn't cost that much. Two, we're still talking about healthcare. Three, you can always go. Four, you're probably going to want to go. Most people do. And most people need to.
Out of their own free will to take that job cleaning septic tanks that millennials refuse to do, and he gets paid well. Why should he be taxed more to fund your decision to college? There's the practical and there's the moral. But back to the rocket science.
Yeah, I'd say upping taxes to pay for college and healthcare is both practical because it comes out cheaper and moral because we're, in my case of morality, we're trying to make people we're trying to up their well-being as much as possible, and we're doing that by pushing these programs. Without them, their well-being would be lower. So, yeah.
To set the Young Turks. The whole reason for lower corporate tax rates is to avoid punishing the umbrella so that it has more money to give out to individuals.
This is the trickle-down economics thing, where, like, we believe that they're going to pay the lower more when they can literally just fill their pockets more. You know how this works, right? If I'm not even gonna go into an analogy, but come on, y'all. Anyone who's watching this probably knows that trickle economics is bullshit, because instead of it going down to the pockets of the people at the bottom, it goes in the pockets of the people at the top, all right? And they still pay just as much, maybe a little bit more, just to keep getting those tax cuts, because they look like they're working. People are going to push for them more, but for the most part, it doesn't help anyone at the bottom. It just fills the pockets of the people at the top.
Individuals, which ironically enough are now taxed at a higher rate. So what do you think happens if you tax the—
There's nothing wrong with taxing everyone more if people benefit out of it. If the majority of people benefit out of it, there's nothing wrong with taxing the majority of people more.
These corporations, these umbrellas more? Are they going to take it on the chin or fire employees and pay them?
Exactly, and this is why we should fucking take the corporations. This is why we're anti-private property. Because if we do try to do anything to up the well-being of people, they will immediately start letting people fucking starve to save their own, like, fucking cash, okay? This is, if anything, Steven Crowder, you're literally making the argument for me.
Less.
Yes, we have the highest corporate tax rate of any developed country, but when you consider the deductions and the loopholes, we have the lowest.
Wait, which party is it, again, that wants to do away with complicated—
They want to do away with taxing. They don't want to just do away with complicated taxing, which I'm pretty sure everyone on the left is for as well. Like, we would love for taxes to be as simple as possible. But the Republicans are not for just making taxes simple. They're for cutting it, so people don't get taxed as much, and like corporations don't get taxed as much. So, sure, I mean, like, if you think it being simple is worth not having as much stuff to fund things that protect our freedom, Crowder.
Tax codes and loopholes, is it? Someone get me a reference.
Free market means that the rich people rig the market in their favor.
No, it does not. It's actually rigged by people like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, or would-be—
How? How? These people aren't the capital owners. They don't have control over capital. The business owners do. The corporations do. They own all the capital, and they get to decide where it goes. I mean, like, as much as consumers get to spend it and decide where it goes to an extent, I mean, if they don't pay us enough to put money places, then money doesn't go there. I mean, they get to pick. They have more control over where the money goes than any of these people, okay? I mean, if we pass certain regulations, they have some control, but, I mean, it doesn't work in what way does it work in their favor, too? I mean, what?
Bernie Sanders, big government bureaucrats who get to legally determine—
Again, with the bureaucrat term, holy shit.
How the system operates. Again, democratic socialism necessitates trust that all of these people are beyond corruption.
Wait, why are we talking about trust here whenever you believe that we shouldn't have anything that, like, really enforces any sort of law and whatnot on these corporations to make sure people are taken care of? And we have to solely depend on trust to the corporations that they are not going to let us starve. Aren't you the one arguing for trust? Well, we're arguing for regulation. It can then make it where we don't have to just go on blind trust, that we have laws that enforce these things. I don't want to hear an argument about trust. You're just so hypocritical, Crowder.
And will do what's right for you.
Which is why when we're in the middle of
Isn't that what he thinks the corporations are going to do? What's right for you?
economic boom times, which we are right now, corporations are making record profits. Wall Street is at record highs.
Right off the bat, this goes back to a worldview. Wall Street at record highs. So, equities are the single—
I mean, Wall Street being at record highs, the only reason it's a problem is because the money isn't going to the individuals that literally work in this society. They're going to people who get to, like, flip stocks and whatnot. I mean, like big money people getting to make more money off their money instead of the people who are generating the wealth to begin with.
Greatest wealth creation tool that have been afforded to a populace
is all the laborers, okay? The biggest wealth creation tool is all the people working from, like, the means of production, capital that already exists to create more capital, okay? Humans, laborers, have created all of the wealth other than the natural wealth that exists on Earth, okay? Like, come on.
Since ever. If you have a 401k, retirement, you've invested it all, guess what? You want Wall Street to do well. Bailing out Wall Street is bad. We agree. But Wall Street doing well is not inherently bad for the middle class. In 2009, largely inspired by a rant from Rick Santelli against the big Wall Street bailouts, Tea Partiers protested big government and crony capitalism long before Young Turks or Bernie Sanders came around calling them racists.
Crony capitalism is just capitalism. I don't want to hear this idea that it's a different thing. It's just it's a developmental stage of capitalism.
By Wall Street, they're just copycats who smoked more weed.
Debauchery, violence.
No, they just solve a problem, and they're not as dumb to think that it's just something that's crony capitalism. They see it as a problem with capitalism itself.
Murder. Suicide. And the
What is the point of all these clips? Also, there's nothing wrong with marijuana. I don't know why he's still pushing that. Holy shit.
They rig
Maybe you
that
should smoke a little
system
bit.
so that you don't get the benefit of your labor. So when, even though you're working harder, producing more, you don't get to benefit. You don't get to, you don't get any of that money.
Okay, Democratic Socialists, let's fix that. How about the middle class, the middle tier workers tie their job entirely based to performance? Go. You want them to benefit from their labor proportionally to the corporation? Okay, now all of those employees, just like the top earners in a down year, get...
Sure, some of us are for this. Worker cooperatives are for this. I mean, like, if everyone owns part of the company or whatever, they only get paid based upon how well they do. Sure. Yeah. Also, workers already pay for that. If a company starts doing bad, we do get our wages lowered. And if a company is doing better, we may, if they're feeling nice, get a little bit of a higher wage. So we already are prone to how well the corporation's doing. I mean,
nothing and have to fund all of those bleak years out of their own pockets. But if the company is successful enough to do well, despite the fact that 80% of businesses fail, the employees get paid handsomely. Oh, that's right.
Sure, 80% of businesses fail, but the ones that succeed only succeed because they have laborers to do all the work anyway. Like, do you think Amazon would fucking succeed if no one worked for Amazon? Because that isn't how that works.
Unions have opposed that for decades. Better teachers should be paid more, bad teachers less. Now, okay, American auto workers, you'll get paid more when our reliability ratings go up, and...
It's because it'd be really hard to quantify any of this shit, and also we just believe that everyone deserves, by doing labor, because you're doing a thing that needs to be done, you deserve to get paid well enough. I mean, like, come on, this is, like, really easy to think about.
Sales go through the roof.
And we already have these things. That's the thing, is we already do get affected by how well things do. Like, I mean, if you're in a school district that the property taxes are lower, you're gonna get paid less. Like, come on. Like, this is just so brain dead.
See, the reason employees are paid less, and the reason for this contract, is because unlike the business owner, creator, innovator, you decided to forego the risk in order to receive
As I said, we already take
security.
on the risk.
It's a choice you made. You didn't start the business. You didn't risk your livelihood. You collected a check regardless of
also, never mind.
Annual profits from someone who did.
What are they going to do with that disposable income? Are they going to do what millionaires and billionaires in the United States are doing, where they just kind of hoard it and they put it in either an overseas account or in a U.S. account and just kind of sit on it?
This is so beyond stupid it defies reason. How do you think millionaires and billionaires got to be that way? By keeping a pile of gold like Scrooge McDuck? No. The only way to become...
They got rich. Because, yes, they took on some risk, just as the laborers do in that company. But they got rich by taking the profits that come from the work of the laborers. Without the laborers, there'd be no money to be made. Like, I think you're missing this point, Crowder. Workers don't need corporate owners. But corporate owners need workers. The only reason why workers currently have to bow down to corporate owners is because they are the capital owners. They own the capital, and without them giving us crumbs, we starve. Okay? That's as simple as I can lay it out to you.
Become financially successful in a true free enterprise system is through investment and willingness to incur risk.
They're going to go out there and spend the money. They're going to buy cars. They're going to, fortunately, hopefully one day, for people like me, buy a house, right? Yeah. They're going to actually go into the economy and they're going to spend that money. They're going to go out to eat. They're going to go out to malls and buy gifts.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. He's talking about people investing, but in a sense, by spending money into a company, you actually are investing into it because that money gets in to help the company keep going. So in a sense, all consumers do invest in all companies that do exist, and we all take risk by being laborers in that company. So the business owners aren't the only people taking on a risk and what's the other? I just used the word. Oh my god, it just lost me. Investment, because we do those things. We invest in, like, that's how companies thrive. If we really like a company, we keep investing into it. I mean, look at Amazon. Like, the whole reason why Amazon does well is because we invest our money into Amazon to keep existing.
During Christmas time, whatever it is, they spend that money, and that's what stimulates the economy. And when people are buying shit, companies are kind of forced to hire more people so they can deal with the demand, okay? But if we're dealing with a situation where people don't have disposable income, they're not going to go out there and spend anything.
Yes! Yes! That's what I'm talking about! Young Turks with a grasp on basic economics. You're getting it. That's exactly it. Create an environment where there are more jobs and goods and services can be provided at an affordable market price. It's what Adam Smith referred to as the invisible hand, the market. That
Yes, but the big problem is the middleman who sucks the profits from the laborers. You could have a system. All this is doing is showing that we need labor here to produce these things because we want these things, which could be planned if we have like right now there's like a whole thing that Paul Cockshot has where you can calculate demand and things like that. I mean, that's all it is deciding what we want as a society and putting labor there to do it. We don't need corporate owners to do that. We as a society as a whole can do that and make sure that we're all well paid together. Like there's no reason to be having to like bow down to these people other than the fact that right now they have the capital and we haven't taken it. So
set prices in demand. So you're catching on, as you said, with lower taxation, less government red tape, putting money back in the pockets of the consumer.
Except for doing the opposite actually puts more money into the hands of the consumer. The things that we tax for actually make those things cheaper, which means the money that they were going to spend on these other things is increased. So say right now you pay in America, you have to pay for your own healthcare, you pay for your own college. Well, you have less money to go out and like spend money. Now, if we take those things and we tax for them instead, the cost of them go down, which means that you have more money now to go spend by going out and spending money. I mean, like, so in a sense, you get to put more money into the economy, allowing the things that we want to do even better. I mean, like, can Steven Crowder not do math?
I'm proud of you.
You're being robbed, not by socialists, but by the established economic system that we've got in America right now.
True. You can act all mad about it like you know something, but it's true.
If you like this video.
Oh my god, okay, I tortured myself with that. This is over an hour long. Jesus. Yeah, I hate Crowder. He's so politically illiterate. And I wanted to respond to him, so I found this video. And this video was just full of, like, problems. One, not understanding what socialism is, not understanding what social democracy is, not understanding how, like, taxation works, not understanding how all the things that we want function, thinking that there's a difference between, like, bureaucracy, between corporations and government. It's just dumb. It's not really well thought out. But yeah, you're welcome. I tortured myself to listen to Steven fucking Crowder. I'm gonna go to bed.